Hey guys, I'm on a different headset. I just want to do a sound check.
I can hear you fine, Kate.
Thank you, Sue. Everyone's so quiet.
I know. Yeah, so let's talk.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning,
everyone.
Yes.
Good morning.
So we're getting some. We have 16. Okay. We're gonna hit the 30 mark. We're gonna hit the 30 mark, right? I hope. I guess we're just not as fun as cataloging is. I don't know.
Well,
right?
we hit that high mark that one time, and I mean, it hasn't been that good since, but I mean, we're a pretty fun bunch.
We are. Yeah, you are. You are. And circulation is above much too. So we got a lot of things going on. So, hey Jake, what's going on in your library today?
Oh, it's calm around here this week, knock on wood. So,
Well, I am coming to you from home because we have a renovation project going on. So they've been cutting through walls, fixing the roof. It's just, you never know when there's going to be a big bang or noise. And so I got permission to come home.
All right. Yay. I know. Steve will be joining us right at 10 o'clock. So, or shortly thereafter. So,
I unblurred my background for a minute, Rhonda, so you can see construction, sheeting behind me.
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's supposed to be done by the fall.
Whoops, you muted yourself
I don't know how that happened, but yeah, she sure did mid-sentence.
mid-sentence.
Sorry about that. I must have moved my finger. I was just holding down the space bar. You know, in the middle of summer reading, the day of summer reading, well, I guess the night before, our roof leaked. And
Oh,
so I
no.
came into just water pouring in one spot. So the whole easy section was cautioned taped off that whole first day of summer reading. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's awful.
It was.
What horrible timing.
I know. Well, you know, Murphy's Law, you know how it goes. So.
Yeah. All right. Hey, we're getting up there. We're at 26. Come on, 30. Come on, 30. That's not even half of our consortium members. So yeah, there's that. Well, that's okay.
Sue,
Hey,
you sound like
Kate.
you're at the casino. Come on, 7. Come on.
I got my book order yesterday.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, she's gonna
I
show
have-
us.
Oh,
She's a beaut.
Oh, all shelves are full.
Nice.
Yes.
That looks like fun to me, Lee.
yeah. I'm excited to start.
Yeah. Well, I will
Call me
probably
if you
start-
need me.
Yeah, I will probably start the meeting, probably 2 minutes after, just oh, we have company. Little things excite me. Little things excite me. So.
Do we take attendance at these, Sue? Do we need to put our names in the chat?
Usually, let's see if Rebecca needs that. Is she on? Did she say she wasn't going to be here? Oh, no. What? Do I see Rebecca?
Sue, I didn't hear that Rebecca wasn't going to be here. I did hear that that there were going to be a couple of people who weren't going to be here, but she wasn't one of them. So
It was not. Okay. What about Karen? Are you Karen Graham? I'm not seeing her either.
What if we just go ahead and do it and then it's there if
Yeah.
we need it and.
Yep. That'll work. Yep. We will do that.
yeah, I want to say that the summary of the call, and it's being recorded, and I think the summary of the call usually does have a list of the people logged in. But yeah, doesn't hurt to do that.
Yes. And that way we get more people coming. Yeah, we're at 34. Ooh, we're getting real close to that halfway point. Yay.
how many libraries do we have now?
66.
Oh, wow. I think
So,
we were
yeah.
14.
We have bypassed the halfway point. So yeah, we're at 36. Yay. Okay. Yeah, 66 with the addition of St. Joe, I believe. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So those just joining us, please put your name and library location in the chat box for attendance, because we're not seeing Rebecca and or Karen on the call at this moment. Yay, we have 38. I'm so proud of us right now.
Jeff, I saw your job posting on Jobline. You're officially leaving.
Yes, it's official. So, can't wait.
He's so out of here. Yeah. That's all right. We understand that.
Well,
my
I
God.
mean, we're in the process of all the, changing in language and including language into our policies and applications, but so really there's so much to do. It hasn't really set in yet, but since Kate brought it up, yeah, sort of can't wait.
Oh my gosh, I think we are, I'm really impressed with us. We're up to 41. Maybe if I keep waiting a little bit longer, we'll I'm pretty impressed with that. So I think we're almost 4 or 5 minutes after. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10:04. We will start with the approval of the minutes of the April meeting, which I believe Steve had included those in our packet.
I
So
move
I
we
would-
approve the minutes from the last meeting. Diane?
Thank you. Thank you, Diane Deesbro, for the motion. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second. Jake Johnson, Webb City.
Right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same sign. Motion passed. All right, now we have the approval of new officers that will begin at the end of this meeting. So, there is, okay. Past presidents, actually, okay, so we have the lineup. I will just review the lineup. We have president of Ron Eifert. We have vice president of Rebecca Hensley, treasurer Shannon Midgett, secretary Karen Graham, and past president Sue Lightfoot Horine. I know Shannon was part of the nominating committee with all of that, so I don't think that she necessarily has to add anything. So I would call for a motion to approve new officers.
So this is Shannon. Should we mention that first, let me start by saying I think I've been very remiss in my duties as past president. I've been looking at the bylaws this morning, and I think we're supposed to propose the 3 board members to begin their term on July 1. So
Okay.
the board members serve a term of 3 years. There are 3 board members with expiring terms. That's Sue Lightfoot Horine, Ron Eifert, and Shannon Midgett. We've all agreed to serve an additional term, and that really should be voted on by the membership. And we also should open the floor to take nominees to the executive board from the floor. So I apologize that I didn't do a better job of organizing this before this meeting.
That's okay. We are going to handle it right now. So we need to probably do the board members, because you have to be a board member before you get an office. So I would entertain a motion or a motion to accept the 3 board members, myself, Ron Eifert, or Shannon Midgett, to have another 3-year term, and also take some nominations for the floor.
This is Terry York. I can make that motion.
Thank you, Terry.
Second,
Can-
Jeff Trinkle.
All right, thank you, Jeff Trinkle, for the second. Before we vote, is there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. So I will ask for approval with the sign of yay for those three individuals to fill the 3-year term.
Aye.
Yes.
Yay.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion has been moved, seconded, and passed. All right, so that little housekeeping part's done. Now we'll move on to the approval of the new officers. Shannon, anything else that you need to talk about with that?
No, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Correct. All right, so once again, I've already read that list of the nominated positions. I would take a motion for approval.
I move to appoint the 3 new board members, officers.
I need the whole slate, Kate. I need the whole slate of.
Okay, I move to appoint Ron Eifert as president, Rebecca Hensley as vice president, and Shannon Midyett as treasurer, Karen Graham as secretary, and Sue Lightfoot Horine as past president.
Thank you, Kate. There's a motion. I need a second, please.
I'll second that, Jackie from Trails. Pause,
All right.
sorry.
All right, Jackie Hall from Trails did the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Same sign. Motion has passed. All right, now we're going to dive into committee reports. So we're going to start with Rhonda with Circulation Committee.
Hi, everybody. I am so pleased to announce that we have scheduled the next regional circulation training day. There was a flyer included in the packet that went out, and we will be sending it out at the next circulation committee meeting too. So it will go to perhaps a broader group of people. This is primarily intended to cover that northwest, if you could imagine Missouri divided in fourths, the northwest quadrant of the state, but anybody is certainly welcome to join us. You don't have to be from that quadrant. We're just trying to get, so you don't have to drive too terribly far. So that is going to be on Tuesday, September 12th at Livingston County Library. Thank you to them for opening their space to us. I'm looking forward to it. So pretty much anybody that's involved in circulation, no matter what your expertise is, you are welcome to join the conversation, and hopefully we'll learn some things together. So for the last couple of months, we have been working on a couple of different things. One is the data integrity and governance policy that we want to try to have approved later. And then also there's been quite a bit of discussion about the new certification rule that went into effect in Missouri. And so thank you for member libraries sharing information on how you are handling that changeover process. And several of you have sent out examples of how you're changing forms and things like that. So thank you so much for the participation among the Missouri Evergreen Libraries for sharing those resources. So along with the data integrity and governance policy, we have been working with Equinox to create a report that would make this an easy process. We are still working out the final bugs with them. I know Diane and I are both back and forth with them. I think we're close. So I think my hope is by the next circulation committee meeting on June 27th, that will be, all the bugs will be worked out of that, and we'll be able to get that information to you at that time. So with that, I just want to let you know that the Circulation Committee has worked for a couple of months on this recommendation, and we are recommending, and it has been approved by the board, to be added to the Missouri Circulation policy. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Sue so she can go from there.
All right. So I know there was the data integrity and governance recommendation that came from the circulation committee that did go to the board, the executive board. The executive board has approved that, but we also need to have general membership approve that as well. Once again, those policies were a part of your packet. So I would take a motion to approve the data purge policy going forward.
I'll make the motion. Jake Johnson, Webb City.
All right, Jake has the motion. I need a second, please.
I'll second Shannon Midget.
All right, thank you, Shannon. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion that we need to have about this policy? Hearing none, I would call for approval, and please indicate your approval by saying yes at this time.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. Anyone opposed to approving the data purge policy? Speak now, please. And the motion has passed. There you go, Rhonda. Ron and Diane, big snaps, because I know that was a big, it's still a work in progress, but you know, the report part of this, but actually we've got that policy, and that would lead our membership having some guidelines going forward. So, all right, anything else that we need to hear from the circulation committee, Rhonda?
I can't think.
Reminder.
Go, say it again.
Reminder of the next meeting?
Yes, thank you. It is June 27th at 11. And we'll be sending out the Zoom information closer to that time and the upcoming agenda.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, now we're gonna go on to the cataloging committee, Kate and Liz.
Good morning, everyone. Our report was included in the board packet as well. Just some key things that I want to highlight. Liz sent out a cover image uploader questionnaire that if you have not answered that, we will be compiling the data to that to help us kind of guide what our workflow is going to be in the future for how we manage the cover uploader. Let's see, things that we have talked about recently. I did want to keep it on the forefront of everyone's mind that we do have a new procedure for on-order bib records. And everybody just keep in mind that if you are adding your holding to an on-order bib record that still looks like an on-order bib record, you are the one that has the lucky job of updating that bib record. I also wanted to mention that Liz and I and Diane, we presented at the, because we haven't had a membership meeting since then. We all presented at the 2023 International Evergreen Conference that was held in Worcester, Massachusetts. And that all went well. We came back with lots of great information, and that we have talked to the board's ear off about, and we always get great ideas from that conference. And since things are going on here, I'm going to turn it over to Liz.
I lost my mute button. Sorry. So what's going on? Well, I want to talk about upcoming trainings. So we have one tomorrow in Poplar Bluff. We do actually leave it open so you can, still sign up like up until today, although I guess it's late, but better late than never. The next one then will be at Trails on I lost my date. Is that the 23rd?
June 23rd.
There we go. Steve's got me. The 23rd, and that will be the last one for this like short little section of trainings we're doing right now for cataloging. Then we'll probably do some more in the fall. So that's coming up. And then also, of course, we have an upcoming cataloging meeting The monthly cataloging meeting will be this coming Monday at 11 a.m. And I will be sending the agenda out for that tomorrow.
Anything else that we need to add? Nope. No, nothing that we need to vote on. Nope, I don't think so. I think we're all good. All right. All right, so we're gonna go on to the, we talked about Poplar Bluff. That's tomorrow. That is tomorrow. Okay. Then we're gonna move on to our reports committee. Tony, are you with us today?
I am here. Hello. Not a whole lot to talk about with reports committee. I'm still doing trainings during the reports committee meetings. We will have one today at 2 for anyone who would like to come. I have had some interest in people joining the committee, so I'm very happy about that. That's very nice. And I look forward to that. It would be nice to have some people joining in. Other than that, not a whole lot to report.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And I'm excited for you as well, because you've been a committee of one for a while now, and it's time for people to
Yeah.
join.
A little while.
May I ask Tony a question? Tony, is Diane.
Hello.
Have you heard about libraries using the Simple Reporter? Any anecdotes to share?
The only anecdote I have is people want to learn how to use it. I've had people asking about it. I'm doing a training on how to create a couple of reports in it later today. I'm hopeful. I mean, as a committee of one, I would suggest that they work on getting it where we can share reports in Simple Reports. That's its weakest link. Because you have to create your own reports in it. But not much more than that.
I've heard
haven't heard
good
much more.
things. I've heard good things from people who are creating reports from, essentially from the ground up, which is a big relief. Still, all these months later, I have not worked with it much. I feel like an old curmudgeon. I'm just sticking with the old reports. But I have heard good things. But I agree, Tony, that one of the main things we need to try to have Equinox do is get those reports shareable.
Yeah. I think that's when it will really take off for everyone, is when there's a core of shareable reports.
I will note that I have been using it and I really like it. It's very intuitive, but me being me and not being at a single library, it makes it, difficult that I can't share them, but it is very easy to use. So if people, want to ask me questions, like I can tell you my experiences with it, but I really like it.
It's not hard to use at all. It's pretty intuitive.
I think the main thing is some things are named a little differently than in the traditional report. And because I'll try to build one and I'll get completely different numbers than what I do in a traditional report that's been built for years.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
And I think that's just user error on my part, but
I get that. Yeah, it's different. There's a learning curve with everything. But it is simpler to, I can go in and build something from scratch and it doesn't take that long. Now, whether I'm getting the right numbers, we'd have to see.
Andrea from Equinox is in the chat and she says that shareable reports would require development as it was not initially designed to have shared reports. So something to look for in the future.
Yes.
Thank you, Andrea, and thanks, Kate, for noting that for all of us to hear that. Yeah, so that is one of the features that we would like to have developed. And I know that, we'll have to look at some of our budget numbers and see what's coming up and see maybe we can't, ask Equinox for a quote about having that development, an estimate for that development. And I know that was something that we also partnered with other library consortia throughout the nation in order to have the simple reports. So it might be something that we'll look for further development.
Hi,
of
this is,
partners.
can I ask a question? This is Steve Campbell. What do we have in our development fund now? I've been kind of out of the loop for a while, so I have no idea what that's accrued to.
This is
Hold on.
Shannon Yet. I think we have $10,000 budgeted. We don't have an accrued amount because we spent the first 10,000 on the simple reporter.
Oh, we spent all of it the first time? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shannon, that's what I was looking it up, and from memory, I was remembering 10,000 was what was in that.
Well, this is a
account.
great segue then for something else, like actually what I came here to talk about briefly. So Scenic Regional, as you remember, we collected money from the libraries that were interested to develop the app. We brought in a total of $5,500. Over the last 3 years, we've spent that down to $2,275 due to the cost of the app and the updates since then. We've been holding that money. It's kind of a little bit of an accounting mess because every year our accountant, our auditor tries to zero that fund out and we have to kind of keep track of it. We'd be fine cutting a check and adding it to the software development fund, but then Evergreen's development fund, because when we formed that, we created that fund in-house here at Scenic Regional. They didn't have a software development fund yet for Missouri Evergreen. So what I just talked to my business manager this morning about was just writing the $2,275 check that we have of the money we have and giving it to Evergreen. It's just that when that what's his name, Ken Cox, requires updates as he has periodically over the last few years, $300 here, $300 there, then that check would have to just be written from that fund to him from Evergreen instead of from us, which is what we've been doing. Is everyone okay with that? I mean, it makes more sense.
I think it's going to be a lot cleaner for record keeping on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, I guess. It's just something else. It's something for us to do that seems unnecessary. We were only doing it because at the time, like I said, Evergreen didn't have a development fund, but now that you do, it makes no sense to have two separate development funds, one for the app and then one for general purposes. It would make sense just having that in the same account. So if that's okay with everyone, I don't know if you need a vote or not on that. We'll cut the 20, whatever it is, what did I just say? 2275 or 2750?
2275.
That might not be right. Diane Disbrow's on here. What number did I give you this morning? Was it 2750, Diane?
No, it was 2275.
It was 2275. Okay. So we'll cut a check for that if that's okay with everyone and send it to whoever we need to send it to.
Steve, I think you need to send that to Amigos as the financial
Okay.
agent. Do you
Yeah.
need an invoice from us just for your paperwork and you know, just to keep everything good with your
Yeah, that might
auditors?
be. Yeah,
stuff
that
like
might sound. That might sound. I mean, it's not really. Well, yeah, it'd be fine for paper for auditing purposes. But I mean, we're just basically giving Evergreen the money we've been holding for them, so it's kind of a
Yeah,
weird
you've been-
thing. But
No, you've been the de facto financial agent and you're just moving that over, which makes all the sense in the world. But you might want a clean paper trail. You don't want people to think that, you know, you went to
Sure.
Herman with that $2,200. So
what would I do with that in Herman, Steve? What are you implying? What are you
I'm
trying
not
to
applying
say?
anything, not saying anything. So
Okay.
let me see if I can, let me work with Amigos and all of that. And Kristen's got her hand up. So maybe Kristen wants to talk about this.
Yeah, Steve, I think a couple of years ago, sorry, Steve Potter, a couple of years ago, there was discussion about creating a reserve fund on the books, and it went back and forth, and it never actually got completed. There are still some questions. You're looking into kind of what type of account to create, and so there is not currently a fund on the books that is a reserve fund. So we can definitely invoice Scenic Regional for that amount. And when we receive it, you know, we can make it discuss with you and with the board, you know, kind of how we want to set that fund up. So,
We do have a development fund though. right?
Development.
Yeah, we have a development fund.
They're saying it's not a separate account. They don't have anything like that. It's just basically in our general reserves. Is that right, Kristen?
there is a reserve fund, but, and, you know.
So
there
it's
was-
kept tracked separately on paper though, but
Oh.
specifically
Right.
for, development on projects. And, it was discussed, and we were at the point where we were kind of talking about like, what type, like a separate account within the bank to have this money completely separated. And so there were discussions, but it was never agreed upon kind of what account that should be. And so it's not created.
This is a related question. I'm sorry I got this off track here, but Shannon made a comment about budgeting $10,000. This is kind of, I wish Dan Brower was here. I don't think he's here. This goes back a little while when we were on the new fees committee to determine everyone's new fees for Evergreen. I thought that we had set aside like a percentage of either the total fees or percentage of each person's
Yes.
fees for the development. Is that
Yes,
right?
Steve, we passed as a membership a development fund policy that said each year we would set an amount aside for development, not less than 1%. But we've
okay.
never done the bookkeeping side of it.
So I
So
thought
it
it was
is
like a
official.
percentage number. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we left it pretty open. We just said not
Okay.
less than 1% in the official policy. That's how it reads.
So the $10,000 was more than the 1%. I don't even know, to be honest with you. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So what we probably do need to do something on the bookkeeping side to actually put it into place. We've had it in the budget and we've been operating that way. We just haven't finalized the bookkeeping side of things, and we probably should do that this next fiscal year.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, if I get an invoice, we'll pay it. I guess that's the end of the story here with this.
Yes,
Okay.
please. So we will, Kristen at Amigos will send you an invoice from the consortium, and you will pay that invoice to us. And then we will have more of a discussion as a board meeting, executive board, and figure out some of those housekeeping that we need to do for the accounts listed with Amigos.
Great. And then I will wash my hands of the app, or at least payment for the app.
Everybody good with that?
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much for being, like Steve Potter said, the de facto keeper of those funds. So we appreciate that. And yeah, I do understand why you want to move them away from your house into the actual Missouri Evergreen house. So thank you. All right, so onboarding committee, that's where we're at next. Leanne, is she with us today? I'm not seeing her. All right, so I will just move on to Executive Director Steve Potter.
So I only have a few things to talk about, and thanks so much. Thanks for everybody being easy on me as I'm slowly learning about everything. I do have, and I should also mention, a lot of you haven't been on a Zoom with me since I took over, but you'll notice that like sometimes it looks like I'm not looking at you. It's because I take notes on a computer over here, so it's not like I'm blowing you off. It's just over here is where I'm taking my notes. So just to kind of know what's going on there. It's been an interesting transition so far. One of the things that I am already working on is a couple of surveys. One of the things that we've been talking about are the standing meetings, to make sure that the traditional standing meetings like this one, executive committee, et cetera, are still at the right time and right dates for everybody. They may be. This may be a survey that everybody says, leave everything alone, and that's fine. Just more input is always the better. I have been talking with a couple of libraries already. When I was at MPLD, I was able to talk to a couple of libraries, about potentially, being interested in joining Missouri Evergreen. One of them is probably worst kept secret, and you all are already aware of this. It's the interest around the Missouri, the Metropolitan Library Consortium, the 9 county libraries, St. Louis County libraries, and still working on that and still following up with people. There have been a lot of other ideas that people have come up to me about and talked to me and said, we should think about this. And so that's probably going to be a second survey that I'm working on. These are things that I'm hearing hearing people talk about or reading through the email thread and seeing people have been saying, we are interested in finding out more about this as a potential service. And then just so I can kind of, take the temperature of the group and figure out where the potential interest might lie. For example, one recent email was around Library IQ. There was another email about a independent discovery layer that I found. There was a renewal about Syndetics, and that immediately made me remember Chili Fresh, which is kind of a competing product, and I wasn't sure if we'd ever looked into it. And so I wanted to, so it's just ideas like this that I'm either hearing about or seeing in email threads that I want to get more information about. So such a survey is being developed. Let's see, that was all the stuff from my whiteboard that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. The other thing one of the other things that I'm working on is organization of files. There's many different ways to organize files, as you know, but I tend to like to categorize files so that they're organized as opposed to everything being in your inbox. And so I'm working a lot on that. And it's also allowing me to learn a lot about what's been going on over the last few years. So there was about 14,000 emails in the inbox, and I'm moving those into individual files. And as I'm moving them into files, I'm reading them and learning history. So it's sort of a double positive as far as I'm concerned. But that's where I'm using a lot of my time. The last thing, which I know I already mentioned this to a lot of folks who were at MPLD, but not everybody on this call was at MPLD, is that I'm trying to establish some parameters for myself, and is one of the things that Mickey recommended to me as well. Sort of creating an office hour structure where I'm generally available doing evergreen work during a certain window of time every week. And, so if you need a quick Zoom call, generally I'm here 8 to noon, Monday through Friday. That's where I've identified my sort of evergreen block of time. And, if I have to come on an afternoon meeting, like I'm going to go to the reports meeting this afternoon, and, I can jump on for afternoon meetings and things like that, but I'm generally sort of blocking this time so I can sort of dedicate my work and dedicate my attention as much as I can to evergreen during that block, and then jump in when I need to. So that's a way that you can find me. All of the transition has gone fairly smoothly between me and Mickey. I mean, I think Mickey's only had to contact me once about changing a password that he wasn't expecting me to change. So I think we're in good shape there. In terms of the 2024 Missouri State Library grant, it's ready to go. I've reviewed it. Mickey put it together. I've reviewed it. I have no questions. And so unless anybody, had any questions or wanted to follow up anything about the grant, I was going to push send on that sometime later today, just to get that going. The reporting for the 2023 grant is finished, although not submitted because it's not due yet. And so I think we're good to go there. I don't think I have anything else right now, Sue. Is there any questions from the group?
Not see anything in the chat. Anybody can you're more than welcome to chime in right now if you have some questions.
This is Shannon. I just wanted to mention for, I think for the entire membership, is the state library funding that at 75% of Equinox hosting fees this year through the LSTA funds? Is that the right percentage?
Shannon, when you say this year, you mean the 2023 as a?
Excuse me. No, I mean the grant we're about to apply for.
I think it's higher than that. If I'm not mistaken, I think that we are asking for 85% of the hosting fees.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick? You mentioned discovery layers. I just want to make it clear, correct me if I'm wrong. If an individual library wants to get a discovery I guess layer type of software for their OPAC and their whatever, they can do that, right? There's nothing stopping anyone from doing that on their own, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell from the agreements and everything, I think you're right. I mean, there might be a technical reason you might not be able to do that, and I would yield to Equinox on that question. But
yeah,
Andrew says no technical reasons. So
I was just wondering, I know that some libraries I know probably a lot of our libraries might not be able to even afford that, the smaller ones, but I know, so it's not going to be a consortial wide thing, obviously, which and we've looked at it. I mean, our library's looked at it. So and we decided not to do it, not because of nothing to do with the consortium. We just decided not to do it this time. So I just was wondering, the libraries that are interested in doing it, I just wanted to make it, I guess I wanted to make sure that I was correct in assuming that they could do it if they want to. Now they don't need the consortium to do it.
Based on what little I've read, and remember, I mean, today's Thursday, right? So I'm officially 1 week on the job today.
Sure.
So, but based on what I've read, I believe that you're right. But one of the things that I want to try to provide for you, one of the resources I want to try to provide for you, is to be a resource where you could come and ask me questions like that. So, you know, I go around and I look at some discovery layers, and if somebody is interested in doing that, I can say, well, yeah, you know, I've looked at a couple of them, and here's where you can go look some more. Or, you know, Ron and I've talked a lot about the ideas of learning management systems, customer management systems, and new website platforms. And so some of this is about me maybe learning about this and becoming a resource for you that you can implement, that may not be implemented consortium wide, but you know, that I just know stuff.
I appreciate that. I'm not at these meetings. I only come to these occasional membership meetings. I had an agenda today, obviously, about the app, so I showed up. But I did want to kind of throw something out there for you, having been a director of one of the largest libraries in the state. Now that you're here, I guess I'd like you to kind of just think about it and maybe talk to the board moving forward on. We've always kind of worked under the assumption, or my library has at least, while doing a lot of recruiting and things, that the largest 7 libraries were never going to ever get on board with this. I know Margaret Conroy sent people to some of our demos from Daniel Boone and said she was looking at it just kind of on the periphery, but I never really thought that was really going to happen. So having been a director of a larger library and knowing that there are around the country some pretty huge libraries that use Evergreen, I just like to kind of keep in your head thinking about some thoughts on how we could maybe in the future do some things that would make us appealing to the largest libraries, and maybe give us an opportunity to maybe be able to recruit one of those in the future. Just using your own perspective and personal knowledge of, because I know that you have not always been an open source fan. And so I know that when I talked to you at MPLD last week, you seem to have maybe reversed on that a little. I guess maybe now that you're in the loop and our executive director, your knowledge might help us be able to break through with that group of 7 libraries.
Yeah, message received. I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So, and I just haven't been able to search it, but I thought we paid Syndetics as a discovery layer already, or what do we use Syndetics for?
Cover
Synthetic-
images,
Oh,
And
okay.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
has-
just images.
Yeah, catalog
Yeah.
enhancements.
cataloging, right?
Yeah.
And that is for every member library.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a consortium wide.
And the only reason I noticed that is that there was an email that came through about the automatic renewal and automatic payment. And I was looking at it and said, well, that's interesting, but I do remember that there are competitors out there. And I was wondering if we'd ever looked at the competitors. And so I'm going to ask silly questions like that from time to time. And every so often you're going to have to say, no, just leave it alone, Steve. And that's fine. I work for you. So my idea is to, every so often I'll bring you ideas, and my ideas will not be good ones. And you can tell me that.
And related to that and the discovery level layer, and also what was just said, Jake just said, we also, some of our members, I think probably several of us, have Novelist Select, and that's also integrated into our OPAC for reviews and read-alikes and things like that. So that's another thing that kind of we do on an as member basis, I guess.
Can be switched on location by location as opposed to.
If we pay for the subscription, which I know several of us have it. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know, Shannon or Kate, do you remember when we were looking at synthetics? Didn't we have an RFQ for that? And
We
didn't really
did,
get-
and it was, of course, years and years ago, and they're the only competitors to Syndetics then were other big names, you know, like Chili Fresh is relatively new and that kind of thing. So I definitely am in favor of going and seeing some pricing. We might not make it by the by this year, you know, but absolutely we should be going and looking at competitors' prices.
Correct. Okay.
Hey,
All
and
right.
I have a question for you, Steve. This is Janet Crothers.
Hi, Janet.
So regarding the FY23 grant, it does require a survey to member libraries. So when were you planning on sending that out? Or do
think-
we need to talk about that later?
Yeah, let's talk about it. And
Okay.
I think I saw a survey that had gone out and that there had been some responses back, but I may be confusing that with something else. Like I said, I've been going through a lot of email messages. So
Okay, I hadn't seen anything, so we'll talk offline then.
Okay, yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Any other questions for Steve? All right, then we're going to move on to our financial reports. Jeff and Kristen, floor is yours.
Right. Kristen did share a few things of note to the financials with us, and you know, there were 2 Amazon Smile deposits of $5 and $10.62 that were coded as miscellaneous income. The Cass County Equinox additional outlet fee of $80 is the miscellaneous income for the month that you'll see. There's still an outstanding invoice for the Equinox additional outlet fee that she's going to be following up. I think she already followed up on and made a call to them just to give them an additional reminder. Yeah.
I got a new updated billing contact, so I sent out a
Okay.
copy of the invoice to the correct billing contact.
Great. Yes, but that is really the only notes that were shared or that we have. Do you have anything else to add, Kristen?
Nope, all the other expenses were just the standard ones for the month of
If I could add something real quick, I mean, this is something Sue and I talked about, is that there is a line that I'm a little concerned with in terms of percentage, but it's going to change in part because of my contract compared to Mickey's contract. And that's some of the travel, the travel line that you have, the travel reimbursement line, is that you used to reimburse Mickey directly for mileage and driving and things. And I handle that differently. So I think that's going to give you some new flexibility in terms of, you know, I'm not going to be charging you mileage as I drive around the state and drive to meetings and things like that. And so that's going to help that account as we budget for the next year and as we finish out this year.
Why aren't you charging us mileage?
I take it as a tax deduction for my LLC.
I see. Okay.
So I had mentioned to Steve that, you know, I would like for him, the consortium cataloger and our migration specialist, our 3 contracted employees, contractors, no employees. Sorry about that. Contractors to attend MPLDs, MLAs, our users conference, you know, so there will be some travel that we will still have some expense. But for the most part, it's going to be a little bit less than what it has been for this fiscal year. So because of Steve's his situation and how he's handling that on his own. So anything else that we need to talk about? I know we will probably be presenting the budget for the next fiscal year at the August meeting because it needs to be approved going into September for our September 1st start date of our next fiscal year. So I know that one of the things that we were kind of waiting on, but I believe Mickey has updated that, was the PLS survey results. We do a lot of, we get a lot of information from those figures and those numbers, and those have been released for this last cycle. So let's see. So I just want to make a note that the budget needs to be passed in August for Steve and for Ron. Let's see. Mala, Jane had reached out to me earlier saying that she's at home with no voice, and she had already updated us at MPLD. Basically, you know, everything on her end is going well. She wants to remind us that if there are issues with the courier, that we do need to fill out the forms that are on their website. And there's also a link on Missouri Evergreen's website as well. So any troubles or issues, please report those immediately to her. All right, Missouri State Library, Janet and/or Robin. I know Janet's here.
Yes, Robin is not here. She is still in Hawaii. She's at the Western Council. Yeah, I know. We all feel sorry for her, don't we? She's at the Western Council meeting for the COSLA, the Chief Officers State Libraries Conference. So Robin gave you an update, at last week's MPLD, which, and we have the Public Library Directors Forum next week. So we'll go in more detail or bring up some other things there. The one thing I did want to let you know today is, at the users conference, I had mentioned that we're looking at getting OCLC cataloging for the consortium. And excuse me. For FY24, that will not happen. Sorry, Liz and Kate, I know you're excited, but that's still not off the books. Going to be looking at that hopefully for FY25. Looking at the ILL and getting the statistics from them. So the state library provides interlibrary loan, we pay the subscription and the access costs for the libraries. And we also do First Search and WorldCat discovery services. And looking at the statistics, it's interesting to have libraries that have no First Search WorldCat use, but ILL, or vice versa. They'll have ILL use, but no First Search WorldCat. And we're like, that doesn't make sense. These kind of tie together. What's going on? So, with other things that came up this fiscal year, didn't have time to delve into that. And the times we've talked with OCLC, they kind of give you the sales pitch of why you need to keep this instead of really helping us understand how the use fits together and why a library can be using ILL, but not First Search or vice versa. So we're going to be spending some more time of delving into that and understanding that much better. But I know we will be getting a quote for cataloging. So you definitely, we haven't forgotten about you and for that aspect. It was just, didn't happen for FY24. So.
All right.
Oh, thank you, Liz. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say, be sure to read the chat from Liz. So yeah, we do.
Thank you.
We do appreciate everything the state library does. And I do understand there is some confusion between the interlibrary loan and the First Search, and a lot of your, I don't want to say this in a degrading way, but a lot of your smaller libraries and or new directors don't understand the difference between the two services from OCLC. So
Yep.
I would recommend a webinar on that topic.
I also wanted to mention to everybody too, that Janet and the state library, they're working not just for, they're doing this not just for Missouri Evergreen libraries, of course, they're looking at all of this for all of the libraries. So it would benefit all of us no matter what they do.
Yep. Well, thank you for your support. And I know the frustration that we feel here with OCLC, we're not the only ones, and that you feel it too for your own services that you get from OCLC. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot more happening in that chat box, so make sure you read it all, Janet.
Okay.
Right. I guess at this point we are at other matters, unless you've got questions for Janet. I should have asked for that. one of the other matters that I want to bring attention to is the fact that Equinox is attending our meetings, and we so appreciate them hearing what the general membership has to say and chiming in whenever we have some opportunities for them to help us along the way. So thank you, Andrea, for being here today. All right. Ooh. I'm almost beat my record here. Anything else that we need to discuss?
Yes, since Andrea is here, she reminded me, just seeing her face reminded me. I sent an email out yesterday to the general listserv and the CERC listserv, asking for what is happening you see happening in Evergreen and what you wish it was you were seeing. There's a wonderful big push coming through to come up with a design system for the ILS. It's kind of like Missouri Evergreen. It started small and now it's just blossomed without a basic design system. Where the submit button should be. Should the cancel button be above the submit button? You know, that kind of thing, and have it uniform across the whole ILS. Things like if you have an internet only patron who's not allowed to check out physical materials and they could bring something to the desk and they try to check it out, the alert staff C says this item does not circulate, which is a lie. The item does circulate. It's the patron who's not allowed to check out the item. Yes, I see the heads nodding. It's not through any malicious intent from the coders. It's just those of us who work on the front line are different from those of us, I am not one of those people who is creating the ILS. And we need a big, wonderful list of all these things to work on. There's a new users interface interest group that's going to be meeting monthly to just hammer these things out one at a time. And the first meeting was this past week. And the first thing on the list is the notices that staff see. But we need the list to work from, because even though there are many minds working on it, we may not see something that you see that is confusing. So if you would ask your staff, I've already sent out a Google sheet for the staff here at Scenic, and people have been adding things to it. If we send this stuff to this user interface group, then we will continue to see results, and Evergreen will be more and more user-friendly. You can collect them from your library and send them to me. The next meeting will be at the end of July. I think I asked for any input by July 20th so I can collate everything. That doesn't mean you have to stop after July 20th, stop collecting information, but I'm willing to be a clearinghouse for that, to take that to the user interface interest group.
Diane, would you share your Google poll that you're asking your staff?
I guess I could share that sheet out to the whole consortium.
When I talk to my people, I ask them to note things and also the scenarios that go along with it, of anything that's misleading or confusing, you know, that alert that you get, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Why does that say that? And so, and then thank you, Diane, for offering to kind of get all of that together. But I've shared with I also attended that meeting, and it was great. I'm so excited for this work to be done on the back end. And it's super important for those frontline people to be getting that information for us.
Yeah, and I set up the sheet the way that when you submit a bug, the community always wants you to say what happened and what you expected to happen. So I set up my Google sheet of what happened and what you wish had happened. I could share that sheet with the consortium if you like.
I think that would be helpful to all of us, so that way, just internally, for our processes internally, we can see what questions our staff would have, and how, if there isn't necessarily a fix in Evergreen, or maybe it's how we need to also handle it internally. Does that help?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
hope that I didn't say that very well, but I think it would be better for everybody to have that kind of resource in order to have a better frontline experience with Missouri Evergreen. And if you already have it, nobody else has to reinvent that wheel. So,
Well,
okay with
that's exactly
it.
true. I don't need everybody in the consortium telling me that when an internet only patron tries to check out, they see this silly, they see the silly message. I don't need to get 8 emails about that.
And very much, Andrea, she says workflow fixes versus software fixes. And that will help us all determine what needs to be asked of Equinox. So, all right. Thanks
And we
for bringing that up.
we can continue to submit bugs. And I have submitted bugs about some of these wonky things. So that doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to put it on the spreadsheet. I'm not going to submit a bug, but you can still submit bugs.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thanks again for bringing that up, Diane. I appreciate that. And I think Janet is, okay, you got Jody and Stephanie. That'd be great. Yeah, I think we've had a really good meeting. Is there anything else we need to?
Terry York. On the purging of patrons that we voted on earlier, is there going to be like a step-by-step sheet that goes out for libraries that maybe read that and go, oh my God, I don't even know where to start? A step-by-step, what report to run, how to run what, and how to deal with that problem?
Yes, we are in the final push to get the report tweaked to where it gives us just information that we are hoping that it's going to give us. So Diane and I are working with Equinox. Once we feel like we've reached the final, this is it, then we will definitely be sending out that report and instructions on what to do to get our goal. Yeah, I believe is what the executive committee is, our board is talking about, is maybe that this purge would not happen till January of 2024, before we upgraded to 3.10. So to kind of clean up our database before we went into the new operating system there. So, but we are working on it. My goal is to get that to you as quickly as we can. We just want to make sure we've worked out all the bugs before we send it to you, so it isn't a frustrating process.
And just so I understand, for like, say, a library that's small, that doesn't have a lot of staff, they can do the delete and then the purge will happen on the Equinox side, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Thanks, Terry. Thanks for those questions. It helps all of us to hear those answers. So, all right, it's 11:01. So, you know, I like to have my meetings an hour. And by gosh, we're going to have it. So this is my last meeting as your president. I will move into the past president position. And with that, I will let Ron call for the adjournment of the meeting.
Before you do so, Ron, I just want to say thank you to Sue for your leadership for the past, what is it, 2 or 3 years? I don't even, it's been great. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Kate.
So is there any further business to be brought before the group? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Jeff Trinkle.
Second, Kate.
We have a motion and a second, so we stand adjourned.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
See you later.
Have a good day. Thanks, Steve.